Right, just got home from work on the bike. It's red hot, but I'm gonna have a go at this breather mod, taking it all off. Fortunately, all of the original breather bits are still on the bike, so it's just a case of reconnecting what's on there, doing away with all the extra stupid stuff that's been attached. And I've also got to change, replace one horn because they've attached the breather filter where one of the horns was, so one of the horns is gone, but luckily the wiring and the connectors is still there dangling behind it, so I thought I'd get another horn. So we've got the twin horns, but just went to the car shop and the horns they have in there were silver. The one that's on the bike is black, a slightly different shape, and I don't know whether the one on the bike is high or low note, not having anything else to compare it to. So what I did was bought a pair, a high and a low, in the new type. Anyway, I'm going to let the bike cool down, get a cup of tea, and I'll be back and we'll go through this, removing this ridiculous breather rubbish mod and putting it back to standard, which is perfectly fine. So, see you in a minute. Okay, I'm going to try, see if I can show you what I'm going on about. There's a hose here, just this half of the hose, it goes in like a sort of an S shape or a Z shape. One end of it goes into the top of the crankcase, the other end of it should go in to the air filter. At the moment this is just blanking off, where this end of this pipe should go in to the air filter. On the end of this is an elbow and it's pushed into a grommet. The grommet fits around. On the inside of that pipe is this sleeve, there's a tube either side, so I need to get that undone and get the metal end of what's in here pushed into where this is pushed in at the elbow, which will then breathe the crankshaft into the air filter as it should be. On the end of this is basically nothing. That's just a hose with another metal tube and that stuck on the end. So that is basically, that's breathing out the crank, going up this tube and then stopping at that. Sorry, it's very difficult to see, but stopping there, which explains why yesterday after I've had a ride I was getting some vapours coming out of this, as you'd expect after 36 miles. I was getting engine crankcase vapours, but I was also getting some around here emitting. And I was wondering what the hell that was, but having looked at it closely today, it's obviously that's not even sealed on there, so it's just coming out of there as well as there. This thing starts at the oil filler cap, which has been removed, so I've had to order another oil filler cap, and then you've just got a rubber pipe, a whole bunch of connectors, another rubber pipe comes over to here into this crankcase breather filter, which conveniently is mounted here. So, ooh, Yamaha have put a mounting bracket on the frame for a breather mod. Well, no, they haven't. That is where the second horn is supposed to go, which is powered by that bit of loom, which is just dangling in there with a bit of tape around the end. So basically you have two horns on either side, high note and a low note. Now went to the, oh I said all this, went to the shop, could only get silver horns, so I just bought a pair, matching pair, one high, one low, which means I can put them both on and they're going to match, plug them straight in. So what starts out as someone stuck an engine breather on here, I just don't really understand it. There's all of this extra stuff. You got to remove a horn, you've got a bit of harness now dangling, you've only got one horn instead of two, so you've got a stupid little high note thing that sounds like a moped. This is all routed the wrong way. This pipe up here, it's not even sealed, so it's breathing out of there, it's breathing out there. Just really don't get it. I didn't really look into it properly yesterday because I'd only just got the bike and I wanted to go out on it. But having looked at it all today, fortunately all the bits are still on the bike to plug it all back in as it should be. The only thing that's missing was an oil filler cap, which I've ordered. So all of this crap can come off, new horns on, and then we'll be back to stock. In fact, here's the horns, just very standard basic things. The plugs, the connectors are quite widely spaced apart, but fortunately these, oh we can't see, the connectors that are inside here have just got one tiny little bit of plastic between the two sockets, so I can just snip that, put them on. Anyway, I shall get on with it and see how much I can film one-handed. I'll see if I can set the camera up somewhere, or the phone somewhere, so you can see what I'm doing. Just a little side point. This is the drain hose from the air filter, so that when the oil sort of gathers in the bottom of here, it will drain out. Now I looked in the Haynes manual and it should have hose, and then there's like a hidden behind here, it's like a little, it's either a filter or a little valve or something, and then there's another hose. Well, at the moment this has got that hose and whatever that filter is, and no other hose. So what I'll be doing is unclipping that cable tie, take it out, have a look at the filter, see if it needs cleaning or whatever, blowing through, and then I shall get, I've got plenty of different hose sizes, and get the hose on the bottom of it, run down to wherever it's supposed to run, usually directly in front of your front tyre, so you can get oil on your back tyre and kill yourself, but we'll try and avoid that. Maybe we'll have it directly above the chain as a makeshift hot oil Scott oiler, who knows. Okay, can't really show you this while I'm doing it because I need both hands, but I pulled off that, which was actually, oh you can't see it, it's on, there's actually a plastic elbow there which goes into the airbox. Yeah, the plastic elbow is actually the proper Yamaha part, and then this, when I get this orientated the right way round, there's a little dent in front of the airbox for this to sit in, and that slots straight into a plastic elbow, and then this clip goes on the end of there. So good news is it's all there, I've just got to feed it in and get it all in correctly so it doesn't kink. There's a lot of wiring in the way, so I'll pop that on and see if I can show you, but it's pretty hard to tell. Anyway, that end of that pipe needs to go on to, come on, that elbow there. So I'll pop that on, and that's one bit of excess shit already. With that, which was just venting engine vapour anyway, pressure. So we'll put that on first. Well, that was pretty nigh on impossible. So what I've done is I've pulled out this from the air filter. I'm going to stick it in there, get the hose clip on, grease that, and hopefully be able to push this back into the air filter, because it's pretty tricky trying to get that on. Oh, failing that, well, it's too late now. I was going to say put all this in that end and then feed this end back in, but I think I'm going to try that for now. Okay, U-turn number 3. That grommet is separate from that end, so I'm going to attempt to get this back in the airbox. I figured it would be easier to push that into the grommet than to push the grommet and that already expanded into the airbox. So you live and learn. Well, I finally got it in. That's going into the airbox. It's coming down through the little notch on there onto the crankcase. That was really awkward. I kept dropping that grommet down into the engine. I've been fishing with all sorts of tools. Finally got it out. Got it in the end. Just a lot of patience, lots of swearing, of course. Really, this is all a job for when the air filter is off. So, but yeah, we're sort of back to normal. Let's just move these two pipes to where they come from. So that's all back in place. So if I sound a bit cynical about all this, it's because I am. This stuff, it's complete faff to put right. It's a load of extra crap when you buy all this, hoses everywhere, stuff, taking bits off, altering everything, and it's completely and utterly pointless. The bike will run fine with the air breathing through the air filter. I've done a little bit of research as to why people do this, and this gets done a lot on these. And people are saying, oh, oil's coming out of the overflow of the airbox, it's dripping oil all the time. Well, there's a good reason for that. If you read the Haynes manual, it tells you how much oil to put in this. If you overfill the oil, it pushes it up into the airbox and it pisses out. Now, the only time you should have any oil coming out of that drain pipe is just periodically, like any other motorcycle, where the oily fumes get in the airbox, sit at the bottom, they run down. Normally on most bikes there's a little bung and a little clip. Pull that out and then you drain the oil, like the puke pipe they call it on some bikes. So yeah, some people might tell me that this is fantastic and it does a great job, but I actually trust what these manufacturers have done here. I'm sure they know what they're doing, and only time will tell. Might be wrong, I'll still have all this shit, but I'll tell you what, if I have to do any other modification on this, it's not going to end up looking like that. I have fitted crankcase breathers to vehicles before, but they were built from scratch bikes, you know, modified bikes, chop bikes, street fighters, rat thing, whatever, where you're getting rid of all this and redoing the intake and induction and, you stick a filter on it because it looks pretty, and you don't have to have all the piping going up into the filter when you've got pod filters. So yes, I've done that before, but normally I've just chucked it on there. Well, sorry, wherever the breather is on the engine casing, I'll just chuck that on it. You can pipe it up higher. You can pipe up into an oil catch bottle, which is probably a much better idea because you're catching the waste, and you can empty that and go along your merry way. They had that in the Mark II Jaguar actually as standard, but this is designed to, you know, I'm keeping the airbox and the induction system. I'm keeping the bike as it was intended, so it's all going back to standard. So I'm going to take this bit off next. I don't have an oil filler cap yet. It's going to be 2 or 3 days before it gets here, so I'm going to take this off and see if I can modify this slightly. I'll see what's in it. I don't know what's in it. I'll take it off and I'll make something to fit that until the oil filler cap turns up, and then I'll put the horns on, wire them up, and then we're pretty much back to standard as far as I know. The other thing is, I haven't looked at, and I haven't looked at in depth in the manual yet, and I can't remember what it's called now. There's an air, God, I can't think of what it's called. They have it on the modern Bonnevilles, an air sort of assisted thing. It's like a valve, and it blows a bit of air back into the system and stops popping on overrun. It's air induction system, AIS. Yeah, excuse me, this sort of shit just makes my piss boil, and my head's fried at the moment trying to get that in. Air induction system. This has got it somewhere up amongst all that. I'm hoping that nobody's thought it'd be a great idea to take it all off. It's not a big deal if it has been taken off, because the bike's running great. Occasionally it does pop a bit on overrun, but then don't all bikes. And this air induction system is supposed to stop that out by puffing some fresh air back in with the hot gases and whatever. I hadn't looked into it that deeply. I've seen other people remove it on Triumphs, and that's fine. But yeah, so I'm going to get all this sorted, and that's a job for another day. I'll find out exactly where it lives, where the pipes go, where the little valve is, and see if it's still plumbed in. I'm hoping it is. If it's not, if it's been done away with, then fine, I can live without that, but only time will tell. Right, take this off, make something for that, change both the horns, and see what happens. That's the pile of crap so far, and hey, guess what? You can't top up your oil unless you unbolt that. So you've got a nice little knurled nut there to unscrew, but you've got to actually get, wow, okay, I suppose having a spanner, but if you wanted to top up your oil and you haven't got that size spanner, happened to be with you and you was out, you're stuffed. So anyway, we'll whip that off. Right, got that off the oil filler there, so that can go in the parts. And what I'm thinking is, just temporarily, until my oil filler cap turns up, a normal twisty one, let's put that there. So have a look at what we've got. Okay, that should be a normal oil filler cap. So I've got that with a thread in there. You can see that there is a thread in there. So pop that back in there with its little O-ring seated, and that's the banjo bolt, obviously. So I think, right, there's a little O-ring there. This washer has got a rubber O-ring in it, so temporarily, with one hand. Oh, actually, scrub that. There's two of the same washer, so they're obviously right. I'll get you. They're sealing washers for the oil line. So yeah, bolt, washer with rubber seal. There you go. We're focused. So I think. I wonder if there's enough thread. If there's not enough thread on this, I don't think there will be. If there's not enough thread, I'm going to have a look to see. No, that's it. I may well have something that size, that thread. So I'll have a look in my myriad of bolts box. If not, I'll do something with this, but failing that, I'll have to wait a couple of days till the new cap comes and ride it when that's here. Anyway, I shall move on to the horns now. Pop that there just to stop any rubbish jumping in there, flies. Okay, couldn't find a bolt that would fit in nicely, so I've just taken a big old cable grommet, bolt in with that washer and seal either side. It's just to keep anything out till the new one arrives. So that's on there. I think it was a 19mm. Right, let's over compress that a bit much. What I should do really is put that in the vise, screw that into it, and then do it, knock it down, so I'm not over stressing that grommet. So I'll do that quickly. Right, that's on there now. Just hand tight. It looks ugly, but it'll do. So I shall move on to the horns. That's the pile of surplus plus that. So all of that stuff was basically doing nothing, but a few little useful bits in this lot. Lots of clips, some spacers, a little bracket. That's a little one-way valve, pressure valve. So no doubt some of this and the hoses will get used in the future on other bits. Right, I've mounted these and the horn works. What I've decided, instead of having the tags up the top like it was to start with, I'm just going to spin them around. Spin around to the inside just to tidy it up. I'll stick both on and give them a try. Right, got both horns mounted. And they're working. So I'll have a look at this drain tube now. Right, these will get taken off in the future, and I shall paint the brackets definitely, and probably paint the horns themselves, but just for now it gets it going, it's working. The original horn, the one remaining horn, was rubber mounted, rubber mounted at the top, like a metallastic bush. But these are two little sprung steel, it's like a miniature leaf spring. It's they're springy. It's just enough to keep the vibes out. So that's sorted. Now this bit, the drain from the airbox, which is now that we're connected back again, the breather into the airbox from the engine, we're going to get some oily gunk in here. Luckily it's still on there, they didn't throw it away. So that's the drain pipe. We've got this drain filter, I suppose it is. Can't see through it, but I've just blown through there and the air's coming out fine, so it's not blocked. But what I need to do is put another tube on this end and feed it to wherever it should go. Can't actually tell from the manual, but I'm going to have a good look. There'll be a sort of hopefully an obvious place where it should go, and I'll try to avoid having the bottom of the tube coming out anywhere near where the tyre's going to go. So I'll sort that out. Okay, drain pipe, I've just run it down there as inconspicuous as possible. Couldn't find the correct route for it without it dripping on the exhaust pipe, so that's going to stay there for the moment. Only had one hose clip that fitted in it, it's a bright blue one off a Triumph, so I'll get some stainless steel small hose clips, tidy that up. Hoping that's okay without the bung. It doesn't mention a bung in the end in the Haynes manual, it just says pipe, filter, pipe, clean it out at each service. That's it. So next job, which will be probably tomorrow after work, tidy this up. Heated grips will be staying for the moment. Tidy that up and rewire this, heat shrink it all. Mate, I don't know what's going on, it's all a bit strange, but it works, but it's odd, so I'm going to sort that out. That's for the next video. I need to tidy up now. Incredible amount of tools just for one tiny little job, and well, 3 small jobs. Anyway, thanks for bearing with me. It's been a long one, this. I don't actually have the facilities to leave the camera on while I'm working. I've got nothing, I haven't got a tripod or anything, and there's no one else to operate the camera unless I can train Luca to do it. So I'll see you next time. Thanks ever so much for watching. I've been Springy. Cheers.